Greetings, this is Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I have drifted into the underworld. The Star Wars underworld. I have a bad feeling about this.
Here we go. We must go to the lower levels. The underworld.
You've taken your first step into a larger world.
You're after something.
Ben.
Since I've started the underworld, I've met so many great friends.
Chris.
I grew up in the 1990s, and mall packaging is nostalgic for me.
Dominic.
What I love most about Star Wars is that it's fun, and it's all-round good times.
So, this is where the fun begins.
May the Force be with us.
This thing really moves!
I like this!
I can't believe you came all this way to see me.
Why am I not in the intro? I gotta come up with a snappy line. Oh, g'day there. Oh, and what a way. New intro and new host bringing it into the show today. But g'day there. Welcome back to the Star Wars Underworld Live. We are so glad you are here. This is our very first week in 2023 that we do not have a new Star Wars episode or show to talk about. Isn't that crazy?
Right?
We're like
It's
almost
wild.
we're 2 days off the 5th month of the year. This is crazy. But so we're going to talk about the news from the wonderful Star Wars celebration that is still very fondly in our minds of all the news that we got. And we have Dom back. He's been back for a little while now, but we can finally get into the goss of what went down and what happened at the Star Wars celebration. All that and a little bit more in a little while, but do we plug first? No, we introduce first. Joining me today is the founder of the Star Wars Underworld. It's Ben Hart, the Star Wars guy.
Hi guys, and I am loving this. I'm the reason this happened. Hello everyone. Yes, this is going to be great. We're 3 weeks removed from celebration. We're finally getting to the official celebration breakdown. We have talked about some of it, but not all of it. So yeah, there's an Ahsoka trailer. There's all kinds of stuff that we just haven't really touched on at all. So yeah, we really need to actually talk about it because next week is Star Wars Day, okay, guys? It's May the 4th. Right? We're going to have more stuff to talk about. More. So, we have this 1 week where there's nothing going on where we actually talk about celebration stuff, and then we're back to the grindstone next week. So, it's going to be fun.
Amazing. Can't wait for the fun. Also joining us today is the co-host and good friend, Dominic Jones.
Hello, Hannah. Hello, Ben. Hello, everybody. For those of you that aren't watching, those of you that are just listening, I'm standing up right now. I'm in sort of I am in the same place that I usually am. I'm just sort of 90 degrees away from where I was before so that I can have a perfect view of the conclusion to Game 5 of the Round 1 playoff series between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Tampa Bay Lightning. There's about 2 minutes left in the third period. It's 3-2 for Tampa Bay in the game. That is, Toronto leads the series 3-1. So this could be a big moment, but it could end in a little bit of heartbreak. So to hold on to hope, I've got my inflatable lightsaber from Cantina. Got that here. Got Grogu on my shoulder, whispering good wise Jedi advice. And then I've got my emotional support puffer pig here to help me through the final minutes of play. So if I seem a little distracted through the first few minutes, it's because I am. And, I was counting on Chris being here to lead us through the plugs and everything. But I'm going to leave that to Ben and Hannah to figure out while I stress watch the rest of this hockey game. It's going to be a great show.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. It's even when you were explaining the game, you could have just made up anything there. It sounded like, the fourth halves of the 2 seconds that have scored 7 times before the half. Like, what on earth are you saying?
That's pretty accurate. That's about it. That's,
right?
Got it. Yeah.
But let's get into those plugs before we get into the juicy goss and juicy news that has been happening the past few weeks. You can get more connected with people in the Star Wars underworld by checking out the other podcasts and projects affiliated with us, which one of which is the Raeside. What a funny situation we're in now. I'm plugging my own plug of me being plugged to this network. But check it out, the Raeside, Raeside on YouTube and Twitter and Instagram. You can also check out the Ion Canon for all your canon needs, Star Wars canon needs, and also Tales from Beyond the Galaxy and more. So make sure you check those out. And of course, join the Discord. Ben, why should people join the Star Wars Underworld Discord?
They should join for all kinds of crazy discussions. One of those discussions, we have an entire section now devoted to Star Wars Celebration Japan for learning Japanese, for ticket advice, all kinds of stuff, for travel information. There's all kinds of stuff happening. There's an entire section devoted. So you have 2 years to start planning, to start getting ready for Star Wars Celebration in Tokyo. And if you're needing help with that, Star Wars Underworld Network Discord is the place to go first. And then also we have bi-weekly events. We had a game night last week. We have another game night coming up. There's a vote going on. You can go vote for what game you want to play next. We have movie nights every once in a while. It's a great place to be.
It's not a great place for where Dom is right now. If you
there's 15 seconds left.
Oh, if you're just listening to this, his face is very disgruntled. And
you really have to. For those of you who are listening, you have to come back. Just watch the first 10 minutes of this to get a full experience of what's happening, because I'm very worried.
Toronto has called a 30-second timeout.
Oh
They're gonna drag this out.
God, this is it's gonna go for the whole show. You can send us feedback at the Star. Do we usually do this at the Star Wars Underworld email address? swunderworld@gmail.com. Send us your
what
feedback.
the hell? Wrote it.
We'd love to read it. Let's get some emails going here. I miss emailing. I want to email. Can we email back? I don't know. We'll see if we can do that.
The thing that you guys missed about the Discord is, like, the Discord, emails are nice, but the Discord is about to become the place for having your voice heard on this show.
Right.
We've got some things cooking, some things in the works. So if you haven't joined the Discord, now is the time to join it.
That's well said. That's what I forgot, if we're releasing what we've cooked, the meal we've made for you. I was wondering whether we were...
It's still simmering away.
It's still simmering.
We're going to set the table this week.
Pot of goodness.
And serve it up next week. I don't know.
We really love our food analogies, don't we? Man, this is the longest plug section.
It's like an
ever.
Oreo mixed with a Skittle, mixed with an IHOP pancake.
in a pot, in a stew.
Well, and one important note, I guess, while we're talking about stuff we're cooking, I don't know where we're taking this analogy, but we should mention right off the top that next week, don't come at 9:30 Eastern. Come at 9, because
enough said.
Because we're not really doing a pre-show anymore. We decided, hey, we're just gonna do pre-show stuff in the main show, and we're gonna start the show a little bit earlier so we have more time for the regular show. So no more pre-show, just straight into the main show next week. So definitely don't miss the first 30 minutes of the next show. Come early.
Come early. That's the way to do it. It's a 9 p.m. next week Eastern. It's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a good time. Going on with the plugs. What else we got going on? Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Most of you have, but if you haven't and you're new, maybe think about it. It's a good time.
Click those buttons.
Then you'll know when we are going live here. So then you can always be connected in. Make sure you do send us a review on the podcast place you listen to us. Spotify, Apple Music, any of those other really strange sound and podcast places. Make sure you leave us a review. Helps us out a lot, and we appreciate it very, very much. I think that's it for plugs. Should we get into the juicy news?
Yeah.
Talk about some celebration.
First of all, give it a hand for Hannah Raeside right now. Give her a massive hand for taking this by the horns and just going with it, and me not wanting to do any of that and just sitting back and going like, well, maybe she'll either sink or swim. So let's do this.
You know what?
That was incredible.
I had to channel not being Kino Loy going, I can't swim. I had to go, I can swim.
Oh boy. But that was amazing.
Thank you.
That was amazing.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
But yeah, we got a lot to talk about. I feel like the thing that I've been most wanting to discuss for about 3 weeks now, is the one thing we have not discussed at all, which is that damn Ahsoka trailer, which was dropped on the first day. We basically had so much happen in the first like 2 hours of celebration that it was like, not all happy, but just incredible. But the Ahsoka trailer was like a real highlight for me, as you know, because I don't know what to expect still from Ahsoka. Like the trailer's out, I still don't know quite what to expect. But for someone who was there but also wasn't there, because I know you were in the building, but you weren't in that panel.
You weren't in the room.
Yeah.
The building, not the room.
I was in the building.
Give us the lowdown on the Ahsoka trailer. Initial thoughts, whatever you want to say.
Oh man, yeah. So if you haven't heard, basically, I didn't win any lotteries at this celebration, so I couldn't get into the celebration showcase on the main stage, and I couldn't bypass any lines. If I wanted to get in, I had to do a standby line, and because I am me, I decided that the standby line I wanted to do was the one for the celebration stage, for the main stage. And I'd heard so much about like good, people having good experiences getting into that, without having a QR code, without having won the lottery. And alas, it did not work out for me. And it was such a stressful experience that I went to go look to see if I could get into one of the other stages, and it still looked like chaos out front, that I decided not to get into the chaos. I didn't want to be disappointed. Yeah, I decided I didn't want to be disappointed again. And I learned later I could have just if I'd waited 10 more minutes, I could have gone in. It would have been fine. So instead, I went and got this sad, disgusting convention center hamburger and ate it while I scrolled through Twitter, trying not to feel sorry for myself. But the Ahsoka trailer did come up, and I got to see it, and I enjoyed it very, very much. I didn't enjoy it as much as the one that I saw the next day when I went to the Ahsoka panel.
Oh yes, tell us about that. Oh my god,
which again didn't have a QR code, but I'd learned my lesson from the previous day, and instead of charging the celebration stage, which they did not allow on the second day, they just said, don't even bother, you're not going to get in. I went to the Galaxy stage, which was one of the satellite stages where they were doing a live stream of the panel, which of course they weren't doing on the live stream for everybody at home. But the one that they showed at that panel had a couple of differences, a couple of key differences. The main one being that we saw Thrawn's face. We actually saw Lars Mikkelsen, how he looks in the Thrawn makeup, and he looks pretty good. And there were a couple of shots of Sabine with a lightsaber doing battle against these I don't know what to call them, but the characters with the orange lightsabers. There's the two of them that look really
Dark Jedi.
Yeah, the Dark Jedi. So that was pretty exciting and pretty cool. So on a whole, I think the Ahsoka trailer is, it does a good job of setting the stage for that series. There's a couple of moments in it that feel right out of Star Wars Rebels, but the one we saw the next day and the one that isn't out there anywhere, that's where they showed the really good stuff. So I don't know if you guys have seen like potato versions of it, but
I've seen some screenshots of the Thrawn face and Sabine with the saber, but not footage though, but just some screenshots. Yeah. But I think it makes a lot of sense that they do that, especially for the Ahsoka panel. And did anyone else get caught off guard? Like I was like honing in on that Ahsoka panel the next day for that trailer, and then just suddenly it's like, here's the trailer, like on that first day, and I was like, oh my god, this is meant to be tomorrow, what? So I was so thrown off by that. Did anyone else think that?
I was judging a lot of my expectations on this celebration based on the previous one,
Yeah.
And so they had done a variation of this at Celebration Anaheim, where at that opening panel, they showed a short Mando trailer. And then at the Mando panel, they showed an extended version of it. And so I wasn't surprised that there was an Ahsoka teaser during the main panel, especially because, that was the place where they were previewing everything. And really, they were only released, I guess, really, that's like the only trailers that were actually released out of Celebration, not just shown to the audiences there, but actually released out of the convention, were Ahsoka and Visions, which are the next two things, aside from the Young Jedi Adventures. The fact that those were the next two things, it didn't surprise me that Ahsoka trailer came out of that first panel, but it did make me go, okay, what are they holding back for day 2? What are they holding back for that second one? And the safe bet was more of Thrawn, which they did show. I was also thinking they might show more of Ezra, which they didn't, but they made up for not showing more of Ezra by showing Sabine with Ezra's lightsaber in combat with these Dark Jedi. By the way, what do we make of these villains of this series? What do we think is going on there? Because sometimes they look Inquisitor-esque, but there's other times when they seem very they seem like their own thing too. Like I don't want to paint them with the Inquisitor brush necessarily.
Yeah, it's no. I'm just
inhaled at the same time to start speaking.
Right.
All I know is that the names, I think it's Balin, Skull, or whatever else, and they're both named after like legendary wolves. Like they're both like in Norse mythology. It's Filoni doing Filoni wolf stuff. Okay, it's standard issue stuff. But so I don't know what that tells us about the characters. A lot of people seem to agree that like the lightsabers they have are not red, they're actually like orange. So I don't know what that means for like their characters. There's a shot where Balin seems to be fighting Ahsoka in the world between worlds, maybe.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? And could they be from another time? Could they have gotten to where they are because the world between worlds? I don't know. I think probably it's just the simple fact is that there's a lot of Force users out there. This is after the Empire, and they may just be Dark Jedi who are out in the world trying to do something. And they may be, because a lot of people have drawn comparisons to, and people doing it in the chat right now, Jorah Sabayoth. I'm just like, okay, and I think there's not going to be an actual like, oh, it's a clone of a former Jedi from the Old Republic. No, it's just like probably filling that similar role of just like, hey, it's more people, like on a strictly production like writing perspective, it's other people with lightsabers, so the heroes have someone to fight who has a lightsaber. Like that's kind of the point of the characters, probably. So
yeah, to me they don't look inquisitory at all, and I would assume by this point in the timeline that Inquisitors kind of don't exist. Like after Vader, like kind of after the purge of all the Jedi, they kind of go, oh yep, there's no more Jedi, move on. I feel like the Inquisitors are kind of done. So I definitely think it's this kind of, I agree with Ben. I think it's like this, oh, these are just, we needed some lightsaber wielding villains to look cool against Ahsoka, but also that I'm sure there's a really cool story behind them and kind of the meaning behind them. But I think maybe that's also the storyline we'll be getting. Who are these evil Force wielders?
Who are these people? Yeah. Sorry.
That's so good.
Yeah, I'm curious to know. I'm curious to know all of these villains. I'm curious to know what their relationship is to Thrawn. I'll admit my memory of the Thrawn trilogy, like Heir to the Empire and everything, is fairly foggy. So I can't say I'm the best resource when it comes to, who these characters might be, what roles these characters might be filling in a adaptation or a story inspired by Heir to the Empire. But I'm curious, Thrawn as a character, surrounding himself with Jedi, with Dark Jedi, with other Force users. You know, one of the things that brought him down, one of the only things that brought him down was, you know, Ezra and to an extent in season 3, Kanan and the Bendu. If we go all the way back to season 3, yeah, all of
I love the
these.
Bendu. He better be in the show. Sorry, just side
That
note.
would be great.
Gotta get that in.
Get two Doctor Who's in the show. Get David Tennant and Tom Baker.
Do it.
But it does, you know, he was defeated by the Force previously.
Right.
Now he's surrounded himself with Force users. If assuming these characters, you know, have a strong tie to him, they could be something else entirely. You never know.
Well, and in Heir to the Empire, if my memory serves me right, Thrawn kind of comes to the conclusion that the Empire needed Palpatine. Like I don't know. Like it's interesting. Like Palpatine again is not dead, but he's absent and he's out and he's not with the Empire. And Thrawn was like, okay, watching how the Battle of Endor went down, as soon as Palpatine quote unquote died, things went to crap for the Empire, and he deduced that it was Palpatine's battle meditation that was helping them. And he's like, okay, well, I got to get my own dark Jedi dude to help out with our battle meditation and help that. So that's when Sabaoth comes into the picture. It may be something more complicated than that. It could just be as simple as, hey, I need some guard dogs. I need some people with lightsabers protecting me because Thrawn's not a fighter, even though he battled, he punched up some robots in one episode of Rebels, I remember.
Oh yeah,
but
when he was
he
like
took his shirt off, he had his wife beater on, and
he
was just going to town on this robot. So like, you know, it was a lot, but like he's not gonna pick up a sword and fight like Ahsoka, I don't think. So I think, or Ezra or Sabine or a lot of characters that will absolutely go after him. Like Din Djarin will be like, I'm coming after you, dude. Like he will absolutely go out. So like he needs someone to protect him. So like it could be an interesting dynamic to see how where these characters came from and how Thrawn will manipulate them. Because I think everyone is a pawn of Thrawn, whether good guy or bad guy. There's someone Thrawn can manipulate and use to his advantage.
That's going to be Thrawn's band. Thrawn and his lovely pawns, going to war against all the Dins. Din Djarin, Din Grogu, Din Ahsoka, Din
F-105.
Din F-105.
One big happy Din family.
All the Din family, yeah.
The Dins.
Yeah. Well, so Ben, that's interesting you bring up with the Palpatine connection, because this takes us sort of back into Mando season 3 territory, with the idea of we see that Shadow Council, that meeting where you have Pelion, who we know from the books is Thrawn's right hand man, but you also have Hux. You have Brendol Hux in that meeting, and they're talking about Project Necromancer, and they don't say it specifically, but it seems pretty clear what that is meant to be. The dead speak. Somehow Palpatine returns, cloning, dark science secrets only the Sith knew. All of those wonderful concepts introduced in The Rise of Skywalker. But it does seem everything is heading in that direction. And, it begs the question of what is the relationship between Thrawn and, this final order that exists out there in the galaxy. Is Thrawn meant to be sort of a first salvo of their return, or is he something different? Is he, is this the classic Empire? Everybody is using each other and everybody's going to betray each other somewhere along the line.
Right. And overall, these characters, I find them interesting just for the fact that we can have this conversation and we don't know the answer. Like, I think it's really interesting. Like, I've loved a lot of the cameos. I think it's great having someone like Bo-Katan in this story that we know where she came from and, things. And I think it would be wise to assume that she will probably be part of the upcoming movie and stuff like that. Like, she'll be a part of this thing too. But like having characters that are like, oh, they're new, she's new, he's new, I don't know who you are. I'm interested to watch this show and find out who you are. That's really interesting. And I'm glad that we're not just getting it's not just a Rebels reunion. It's about, yes, it is definitely that, but it's also more characters being thrown into the mythology and where did they go? And we don't know their fate. We don't know where they came from.
Now,
what?
Go ahead, Hannah.
One kind of outside kind of fact of this show that I'm really excited about is kind of not related, but is I am so excited by, and it's not that I don't like The Mandalorian, but the fact that this trailer has gotten 11 million views since it's come out.
That's
It's got
crazy.
11 million views. The season 3 Mandalorian trailer, which, coming off the back of seeing Luke Skywalker, this is the most popular Star Wars show, most popular thing on Disney Plus, all those kind of credits to Mandalorian. At its max, at the most watches, it has gotten 7.7 million. And that's been out for a year, or not a year, almost a year. Whatever. But
it's been a while.
It's been a good amount of time. I don't know. Jeez, panicked myself. But I just found that so fascinating. And I was kind of going into this, I was like, Star Wars fans are gonna love Ahsoka because we're very in it and we love her. There's only a minority that don't. But like, what is this going to do for Star Wars as a whole? A casual fan's going to understand this character, the story. Non-Star Wars fans at all going to understand what's going on. But I'm really kind of thrilled by those numbers. And it's not that I want Mando to do worse, but it's like Ahsoka could have done worse. It could have been not much traction for this show. But I'm like, 11 million views. Damn, like 4 million more than the Mando. Oh.
I'll tell you, just like being at Celebration and in the really monitoring the lead up to Celebration, there was a feeling of the Ahsoka panel was the one that people wanted to see more so than the showcase one. Like my personal thing was I wanted to, like, if I had to pick, I would, which is the opposite of what I wound up doing, but I would have gone to the showcase over the Ahsoka panel because I want to see a little bit of everything. I want to know the big picture of what's coming down the pipe. But I think there was a feeling that the Ahsoka panel was the panel. That was the big one. That was the one people really wanted in the lottery. And that was the one that people were really willing to fight for to get into at the convention if they didn't have their pre-advanced ticket. And it's a testament to the sort of sustained investment by the storytellers in this character and by the fans in this character. Let's like if we got in a time machine and went back to 2008 and talked to all the people that were going into and coming out of the Clone Wars movie and said to them, this character is going to lead one of the most anticipated shows, live action shows in Star Wars history, nobody would have believed you, not for a second. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Don't let anyone tell you that, oh yeah, no, Ahsoka was universally loved from the beginning. She wasn't. There was so much hate directed at her, at Dave Filoni, and yes, there were people that loved her from the beginning. And I don't mean to take anything away from those people, myself included, by the way. But like Ben's pointing at himself too. But the character was given time to grow, to evolve, to grow on fans and to become a fan favorite, to the point where, when she left at the end of season 5 of the Clone Wars, it was, a devastating emotional moment, which I don't think people would have predicted after the Clone Wars movie. When she returned in Rebels, it was a huge deal. That to me is one of the biggest moments of that entire show, is her climbing down a ladder, bigger than some of the character moments that we get, some of the action moments that we get in that show. When she climbs down that ladder, that was a reveal in and of itself, where I wanted to throw my hands up in the air. And then she's been, and then the fans have gotten older, and they've been allowed to, they've been allowed into the spaces that were previously dominated by people who didn't care for the character. And now we're in this place where, it's a big deal when she shows up in Rebels, and it's an even bigger deal when she's going to be in her own show. And, it's as much as it's about Ahsoka, and it's also, we're seeing the same thing happen with the Rebels characters, that these were characters that, certainly didn't face the same level of antipathy that Ahsoka did when they first came out, but have been allowed to live and grow and grow on their audience to the point where Rebels is hugely, hugely popular. And the fans of that show are very, very much looking forward to seeing their characters back in live action, no less.
Yeah, I mean, and Ezra in the same vein, like maybe not as much as Ahsoka, but like still like I remember those memes. I remember those posts about Space Aladdin. And I'm looking back on that. I'm like, since when is that an insult? I like Aladdin. Aladdin's a good character. Why is that a bad thing?
But
we also,
we know you like Aladdin, Ben. My video I posted for your birthday yesterday?
I literally just saw that. Yeah,
You love Aladdin,
that's
buddy.
one way to get me to break out into song. Just bring up Aladdin, and I'll I'll show you a new
Amazing.
world. Yeah, it is amazing to like see all this animated stuff culminating into live action. I think is something that we would have never dreamed of, and never would have expected, especially going back to the time where it felt so niche. It felt so like I'm a minority. I am watching the
You're
Clone
in the
Wars.
Minority.
That's a way of saying.
It's a better way of saying it.
Yeah. But like I'm sitting here watching Cartoon Network, watching the Clone Wars, and I love Ahsoka Tano, and I'm not in the majority. I'm not a majority of people. And it did feel like that for a very long time. And now just the fact that the Ahsoka trailer literally blew up and everyone is excited for it, it's just like, wow, we've come a long way.
Absolutely. Speaking of the Rebels, go ahead.
No, it's all right. You can continue. That's all right. I was just agreeing.
Okay, sure. Love it. Speaking of the Rebels characters, this trailer gives us our first real looks at Sabine, at Hera, at Chopper. We saw Zeb in Mando. What do we think? What do we think of live action Star Wars Rebels in the Ahsoka series?
Looking good so far. Looking very good so far. I think they've done a fantastic job. I like how this show has come at this point of time with the live action kind of series, through Obi-Wan, through the Mando seasons, and even through Boba. I think they learnt a lot about what to do with prosthetics, with costuming, what should be CGI, what should be, just even from Ahsoka's Leku being so short in season 2, and then they actually listened to heard the response that people were like, that's not right.
Rosario actually acknowledged that at the panel at Celebration.
Yeah,
she's like, we heard you about the length of the the Leku.
See, that's so good. Like, and imagine if what she was in season 2 of Mando was how she was in this show. Like, I think a lot of people would have had a lot to say even more aggressively. But so I kind of like how this show's coming now, because I think they've learned a lot with actual production of how to make Star Wars live action. It's very easy in the animated shows. Clone Wars really expanded different looking species and how species walked and moved and functioned. And then they created, all those looks. And then like, oh, how do we, it went from Star Wars movies to making all these great things in animation, then going back to live action, being like, oh, we got to make all these cool things live action as well. That's my response to I think Hera and Zeb specifically. Like, I feel like they look really good in I think it's a good looking Rebels reunion, and I think it is one.
I was just shocked that we got them all. In the trailer, in the trailer, like minus Zeb, which we got in Mandalorian. Oops, I was like, I thought they would hold back on that. I thought I was fully expecting Sabine to have a surprise appearance at the end of Mandalorian. Like, that shocks me that didn't happen, considering everything went down with Mandalore. But like, I was surprised that we got them all. We even got Chopper in not his first live action appearance, obviously, but the biggest, I think, clearly. And yeah, we got them all, and it seemed, really hammers home the idea that yes, this is a Ahsoka show, but also this is an ensemble cast. Much like other shows that had characters' names in them, like The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett and Andor. It's not just about that one character; it's about the characters that are surrounding them also and their stories. And we're going to be getting this wider story and even bringing back, just all those Rebels characters. I'm honestly shocked we didn't get Force Coast Kanan like fully.
That may yet
really
be
the
coming.
Surprise.
That may yet be coming. Who knows? They could be coming down the line. This what I'm interested in. One thing I'm interested in with the show is, we've talked about everybody sort of except Ahsoka, right? We've talked about Thrawn, we've talked about Rebels. Like, I'm curious to see what role or what Ahsoka's specific journey is in this one, because she went from walking away from the Jedi Order, grappling with what does it mean to be a Jedi, even showing up in Rebels, I think, and saying I'm no Jedi. And then when she returns in The Mandalorian, her episode is called The Jedi. And so she has sort of an interesting relationship with Luke that we get a little taste of in the Book of Boba Fett, where she's sort of supporting him, but not necessarily being she's not going to be a teacher at his Jedi Academy. And there is a little bit of a thread through this trailer of bringing back the Jedi, returning the Jedi to their former glory, including Huang saying maybe it's time to begin again. And there's this idea of bringing back Ezra to join in this fight. What do we think of where Ahsoka's journey might go, and where she's kind of what we're getting a little bit already from her tenuous, evolving relationship with the term and title of Jedi?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I like that. I like the kind of the pushback that I've heard recently, in regards to people kind of hooked on to that I'm no Jedi scene, and just like, oh, she doesn't consider herself a Jedi. She has white lightsabers. She's disillusioned with the Jedi, since the Clone Wars. This is what happened to her. But I like the idea that no, she was in a moment where she's trying to backtalk Darth Vader, and she says, I'm no Jedi. Maybe not take her quite as literally as that. And also, understanding that yes, at the end of the day, she is Jedi. She's probably more of a Jedi than a lot of people were back in the day and even now. So I like that. I'm curious where they're going with this. I really am curious in regards to where does she go as a character. She's been around all this time. She knows Luke. She's had experience with him. We don't know actually if this is before or after that, really what happened in Book of Boba Fett. I would still love to see that first meeting. I would love to explore that more. But we'll see about that. I'm not expecting it, but I'm hopeful. But just the fact that she's around, she's seemingly supporting Luke, but she's not really involved with his Jedi Order. What goes on there? She's obviously not involved with what goes down in the sequel trilogy. So, where does she go as a character? And, what is her place in the galaxy post Return of the Jedi, post all of this? And, how does she figure into it? Is she, I mean, seriously, let's consider this possibility. Does she survive? Is she sitting on the Jedi Council in the Rey Skywalker movie? Is she that? Because I'm not expecting her to die. I'm expecting her to be around forever. Because Filoni wants her to be. So where is this going?
There's two characters that I think, if we've reversed the order that the movies were coming out in, I think would be in both movies, both the Filoni movie and the Rey movie. And that's Grogu and Ahsoka. And I think if the Filoni movie came first, they would also be in the Rey movie. But because the Rey movie is coming first, I feel like they want to keep their fates a little bit mysterious, a little bit shrouded, and spoiling that they're alive 15 years after the Rise of Skywalker, which is 30 years after this, maybe isn't the move that Lucasfilm wants to make.
Oh, but spoiler, we didn't kill a baby in the show he starred in. Oops.
I mean,
oh man,
fair point.
Spoiler.
Fair point.
Yeah, but it's a good question, and it's like I could see Ahsoka probably her death being in the Filoni movie. I think that could be a very big.
Ahsoka's never gonna die. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Oh, jeez.
She's never gonna die. She's
I
gonna go to Mortis or something like that,
And just
and just
become
be there.
a big eagle
Yeah.
for forever.
Forever
Okay, cool.
and ever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm okay with that ending. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, whatever. Yeah.
It's one of those things. She could die, she could not. But I just have this feeling that Filoni has a plan for her that doesn't involve death as we think of it traditionally. But we'll see.
We'll see.
We shall see. Trying to think, what other things are sort of standing out in the trailer? What other things are you guys thinking about from this Ahsoka trailer?
The most shocking thing from this trailer, Mon Mothma being here, my
Seriously.
lord. We knew Genevieve wasn't done. We knew while she was doing Andor, she just popped over to LA. She flew in her Mon Mothma outfit and went there. Yeah, that was my biggest shock, and a surprise, but a very excitable one. Yeah, I'm really excited to see her because I'm not deep into the book side of things, but I know she is a big component of the New Republic and politics at this time. So from a non-book person, I can't wait to see what's happening there. What's she up to? In Andor, she's very such the one of the most staunch people speaking at working against to bring down the Empire, and how does she channel that energy after the post Empire? So yeah, I'm so excited that she's in this show, and I hope she's in it a little bit more than we think.
Yeah, I'm curious to know, because this is all setting up a war between the Remnant Empire and the New Republic. That's what they told us at Celebration, that this is where this is going. So this is going to be we've seen the Remnant Empire be introduced in Mandalorian in pretty explosive, pretty big ways. We've seen little hints at the New Republic storyline, but not a whole lot of it. We've seen kind of the characters on the fringes, be it Cara Dune, be it Carson Teva, characters like that. This is telling us that this show is going to go right to the heart of it. It's going to go heart with an E, not heart with no E. It's going to go right to the heart of it. And they're going to give us a little bit of insight into what the New Republic is actually thinking about this threat that is out there. And Mon Mothma, we see in Andor, she's very cautious. She's very calculating. She makes her moves with great thought, great pain that goes into them. And that's when she is up against a tyrannical empire. Here she is the head of government. How does she react differently? How is her portrayal in this show going to be different from what we see from her in Andor? I think that's going to be fascinating. And it wouldn't surprise me if she kind of feels like a different character in this show. So much time and so much life will have gone on for her between Ahsoka and Andor that maybe it will get a little bit of whiplash going from season 1 of Andor to this version of Mon Mothma, to then going back to season 2 of Andor, where where she'll be and continuing that story. So it's gonna be fascinating. It's gonna be, but I'm thrilled to have this character in there. I thought she was gonna show up in Mando season 3, but she didn't. She's here instead.
Me too.
I
was ready for her.
Yeah, and I will echo everything you guys are saying. Dream come true to have her in this era, established in this era, because this is not kind of unprecedented to have. I mean, think about it. We have Mon Mothma played by Genevieve O'Reilly pre the original trilogy, and then we have still Carolyn Blankenston playing her in Return of the Jedi, and now we have Genevieve O'Reilly coming back after that performance in the timeline to play her again, which is really interesting, but also freaking perfect. And I agree with you. Like, she has to be different. I feel like in Andor, she's very calculated. She's obviously up against the Empire. She's in the shadows. She's trying to be a good person. She's trying to kind of play her thing. That's her thing. She has that, going back to Rebels, we have that great scene, one of the best scenes in Rebels, in my opinion, of her talking to Saw. And Saw, is all about, basically kill everyone, kill collateral damage, be damned. We're going to fight a rebellion. And Mon Mothma is all about, we have to do this right. We cannot become the Empire. And then we get to this era where the New Republic's kind of acting like the Empire. There's a little twinge of that. There's a lot of stuff going on that's really bad, that the New Republic is inherently corrupt. And how does that reflect on her character? Is she oblivious? Is she failed as a leader? Is she corrupted herself? How is that portrayed in her performance and in her character? What does that mean for Mon Mothma? Is she a character that we're going to be rooting for this time? Is she going to be more of a bureaucrat, maybe, that we aren't going to be as quick to root for? Who knows?
Yeah, I think she's still going to be calculating. It's just the calculation might be different this time around. It might represent something different. Because in Andor, right, she's about taking action. At this point in time, she might be more about maintaining calm, maintaining peace, and, stirring people up for a threat that, perhaps people she trusts are warning her about, but she hasn't actually seen for herself, might not be top of her priority list. I also just you were saying something there, Ben. I just really quickly want to make this point because it goes back to a debate we had a lot in the lead up to Book of Boba Fett, which is, if Han Solo were to appear in that show, who should play him? Alden Ehrenreich or CGI Harrison Ford? And I always said Alden Ehrenreich. And everyone else said, no, it has to be Harrison Ford because
I don't remember that conversation like that.
You can't go Alden, Harrison, Alden. You have to go Alden, Harrison, Harrison. But now we're going Genevieve O'Reilly, Carolyn Blackiston, Genevieve O'Reilly again. So we can go Alden, Harrison, Alden. So bring on Alden Ehrenreich.
I agree.
In season 2 of Book of Boba Fett. Damn it. All right, that's my point. Somebody else make another one.
God.
I have to cough again.
Well, another unrelated point. Genevieve O'Reilly does a fantastic Australian accent. I just watched her in an Australian movie the other day that was filmed here with Eric Bana, and she played an Australian in it, and it was like I'm convinced that she is Australian, and then she just puts on, what is she? Is she Irish? Scottish?
She's Irish.
Irish. She just puts on an Irish accent, because I was like, this is the most perfect Australian accent I've ever heard. So good on
Australian
her.
approved
Good
accent there.
Yeah, exactly. Australian approved accent.
Amazing. Yeah, the other thing it's worth mentioning in that scene of Mon Mothma is one of the other senators is Kazuda Xiono's father. It's Xiono Senior. The senator. Nice little
Talk
Star
about
Wars
random connections, man. So it's just it's good. That's great.
I loved it. Loved it. Loved
Filoni, man.
It's so random, man.
Anything that ties Resistance back into the storyline. I love it. I love it.
And we know he's kind of a corrupt a-hole too. So,
Yeah, he's not the best, is he?
No, he's not the best dad. So if he's standing there with her, who knows?
Yeah. One final thing for me about the Ahsoka trailer. Filoni's movie's definitely going to be called Heir to the Empire, right? Right?
I mean, look, I agree with you. I think that's low-hanging fruit that Filoni will have to tear himself away from actually eating. But I hope not. Give it something, because that's
you're right. They should call it Dark Force Rising. Or The Last Command.
Just leave it for the sequels, but just because and then all the EU fans and all the fans everywhere is gonna be like, oh, this is a live action adaptation of Timothy Zahn's novel, yay! And it's clearly not going to be that at all. And then we'll have to listen to 20 years of they ruined that. It's not my heir to the Empire.
I mean, we're already
it's a good title.
Yeah, I'm sort of like, well, the title's good. Let's just use it. Like, who cares about all that other stuff?
It is a good title. Yeah.
But it's not that story. We have that title is loaded. It's loaded. It's connected to that story. And if you bring it back, you're asking for those comments, and just come up with your own titles, guys, please.
Yeah, fair enough.
Sure. Question from the chat. J Star Wars 360 says, do you think we'll see Han, Luke, or Leia in Ahsoka, given how integral they were to the original Thrawn trilogy? I'll let one of you guys take this. Go ahead. Whoever's feeling like they have a passionate opinion about this.
All I'll say here is that, like, given my complicated thoughts on how Luke was portrayed in The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, and I'm kind of in the camp of I really don't want to see them. I kind of hope it's just like the movies were about them. This is a new era. This is the era of Din Djarin and Ahsoka and Ezra and Sabine, and let these characters shine. Let's not distract from the story, distract from the characters, because if Han Solo or Leia or Chewie or any of those characters are there, we're immediately gonna be like, what are they doing? We're immediately like I'm not as invested in Din Djarin and Grogu's story if Luke Skywalker is here, if Leia is here, and they're together and there's stuff going on, and little Ben Solo is there and all this kind of stuff. Like, I'm very interested in that story, and maybe they can balance it out. I'm not sure I want that complication to throw in there. That said, I feel like if there's something big going on, if there's a new war, it would be real weird if those characters aren't involved in some way, or there needs to be some explanation as to why they're not there. Because, like, right now we have in canon, canonically, there is the Battle of Jakku, which is this big event that ends the Galactic Civil War, and canonically, Luke, Leia, and Han are not there. They're not freaking there. And it's just like, okay, why? Like, I know why, because they want to keep their stories ambiguous, because they have stuff going on in the sequel trilogy, and all this stuff's been developed in the last 10 years, and you can't just have any writer come in and write Luke Skywalker or Han Solo. But it is weird that, like, you got this big event, and these characters that are in the middle of literally every big event in the galactic history are not there. It's kind of weird. So, yeah, complicated feelings there.
So maybe is what you're saying.
Yeah, I
just do what you want.
You know what? I not really thinking about it. I feel like I could see Leia, if anything, coming in. Luke is a maybe, but Luke will probably be in the Dave Filoni movie, I would say. But I could honestly see them doing a Leia deep fake, and her briefly being in it. If we're getting Mon Mothma dealings of what she's been up to and trying to organize with New Republic and all those kinds of political things, like Leia's involved. Like after the Empire fell, Princess and the Scoundrel, is quite a fairly recent book and kind of goes into immediately after Return of the Jedi. And she's like, well, this is not the time to stop. Like, we need to sort things out. We need to sort this galaxy out. So she's very involved. So I think it would kind of be cool if we actually saw just like a few scenes of like, yeah, Leia's like working with Mon Mothma, and Ahsoka knows Leia as well, which would be kind of mind blowing. And it would be the same energy as seeing Ahsoka and Luke on the same screen. It would be just as wild to see Ahsoka and Leia on the same screen. I think that connection deserves to be made as well. With if we have Luke, we should have that with Leia as well for Ahsoka. But maybe as well.
Maybe. I think it's a definitely for Luke, and a maybe for Leia, and a probably not for Han. I think Han is just kind of, he doesn't have there's too many other characters that fill the Han Solo role in this story of being kind of the cool gunslinger with the great ship and all that stuff. Like there's enough other characters that already do that that I don't think Han really has a place in this right now. Leia, like you said, has the New Republic connection. She's also got the Jedi connection, which would be interesting to get a scene between her and Ahsoka, or more than just a scene, a multitude of scenes. But Luke is the one who has basically been teased, and I think they basically said he was going to show up in the Ahsoka Luke Grogu episode of Book of Boba, when Luke says to Ahsoka, "Will I ever see you again?" She goes, "Maybe." I'm like, "Yeah, she's going to." That he's gonna pop. He's gonna pop up.
Said, "Hell no, I'll never see you. I hate you, Luke Skywalker. Don't call me again."
Yeah, but I saw that scene. I'm like, "Oh, he's showing up in the Ahsoka show." That's coming down the pipe. Any final thoughts on the Ahsoka trailer, or should we move on to something else?
I think we should move on. We are almost an hour into the show. We have 9 more points about Celebration to make, and like a ton of other news.
Here's some news for you. There's no way in hell we're covering all those points.
Right.
I think some of these we'll go through a little bit more quickly.
For the record, I was just like, oh, I need to remember everything that happened at Celebrations. I'm gonna write them down.
That's amazing.
Amazing. Well, let's stick with the Mando Ahsoka verse here.
Yes.
And let's talk a little bit about Skeleton Crew. This is the one trailer during Celebration that I missed at the showcase and wasn't able to see somewhere else. So I'm on the same page as the rest of you guys. I haven't seen this footage. I don't really know what goes on in it. I've heard from the people that were there. It sounds cool. It sounds interesting. I think it's very telling that Jude Law was there to promote it, but not whoever those two guys are that are making it.
John Watts, and some other guy.
The brothers?
No, John Watts and Chris Ford. Those are the guys.
Okay.
I don't think they wanted to put those guys in a place where they'd be asked about all of the horrible conditions that were on set. And so they just brought Jude Law out to be the face of that show. I'm still curious to see what Skeleton Crew is, what it becomes, but it's kind of the most nebulous of all of these kind of Mandoverse shows. Like with all the other ones, we kind of get what role they play in the story. This is the one where I'm sort of like, what's going on here? What are we hoping to see from Skeleton Crew when it premieres later this year?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know. I have zero traction on this project. I have, like a kind of your ragtag team of kids led by a adult in the Mandoverse era. It just doesn't tickle my fancy, but I'm kind of open to eat my words about that. But I don't know, for a project that's premiering this year, apparently, we barely know anything about it, don't we? I'm a little speechless because I guess I don't have any words to be like.
So like I'm trying to think back because I did see a little bit of the footage because I don't know if you know this. I don't know if Disney knows this, but when they don't show the trailers, that they don't release it, people just post them online and they go to Reddit and you can watch the trailer potato quality, okay? None of this stuff actually stays behind closed doors. It's useless. Just release the trailers. Okay. I'm sorry, just get that off my chest. But like I did see the trailer, it was, I know Vane, who was in Mandalorian, the pirate dude who escaped at the end of episode whatever. He's back. So that rumor was kind of true. We got one of the kids, which they brought the kids out on stage, I think. One of the kids is playing an alien. Apparently it's a Max Rebo alien, like specifically.
Oh,
he's like
I
doing
heard
motion
this
capture.
Somewhere. Oh, that is epic.
So that's going to be interesting. Like how, because like that's the whole thing is like most of the time in live action, most of the characters are just either humanoid or straight humans. Like they don't deal with like, because like it takes a lot of budget to make a really crazy character, whereas in the animation you can have a lot of different characters. The fact that they committed to like one of the kids is a motion capture character is really interesting. And then there's some weird Force stuff happening. I don't want to give too many spoilers, but there's some stuff about Jude Law's characters out there that is going to be really interesting.
Jude Law uses the Force. Just say it. Just say it. If they didn't want people to know, they wouldn't put it in the trailer. Yeah.
That's interesting.
I've heard he uses the Force to like call something or to his hand, call his weapon to his hand.
Oh, I saw that as a rumor though, being like, oh, this object suspiciously moved.
Yeah, the object suspiciously moved, but I think the heavy implication is that the dude's going to be Force sensitive of some variety.
Okay, so we got a Force sensitive leading a show in the Mandalorian era. It's this rugged, cool adventure story. Why do we still know nothing about it? We've only got 7 months left of the year. Like what? I don't know. I'm annoyed by how little we know.
This is the Lucasfilm secrecy policy, just gone insane.
That's true.
They won't say anything until the show is out, and to an extent, I get it. That's the idea, is that you go into it not knowing anything, but also if you don't know anything, it's hard to get excited about it. The show is so vague, it's so nebulous, that maybe if you saw the footage, if you were at the showcase panel, maybe you really are feeling excited for it, but everyone else is still kind of like, about it.
Yeah, it's happening sometime.
We've seen like 1 second of footage in a Disney Plus preview from the beginning of the year where Jude Law just kind of looks over his shoulder. Like there's really nothing to go off.
And they released it as like a still. And it's just like him looking. It's like, what?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see where that leads us. I'm curious to see what becomes of this show. Andor season 2. This I did get to see after failing to get into the showcase panel. I went to a behind the scenes of Andor season 1 panel that they did on the celebration stage. They live streamed 99% of that panel, and in the 1% that they didn't live stream of it, they showed the trailer again. And while I started to get a sense that this was going to happen, because they started saying, "Oh, put your phones away, don't film anything that's on the screen." I'm like, okay, we're gonna get a little something. I'm gonna get a little something back after missing everything this morning. But the footage itself is very, very quick. It's a lot of quick cuts of people looking intense and running places with a few explosions thrown in the mix. It just sort of suggests that it's going to carry over the tone from season 1 into season 2. And they're still filming, so we presumably are not seeing very much of what this season is actually going to be. So there's no plot points. There was no stinger. There was no big reveal. The thing that ended the trailer was Cassian kind of looking all fancy. So maybe he's going undercover somewhere, or he's going to meet up with Mon Mothma. Who knows? But nothing major really in this trailer, other than it got me amped for season 2. And I'm already excited for this show, for this season, for more of this show. But to get a little taste, a little teaser that suggests it's going to bring back all the best elements of the previous season, made me feel pretty good. Yeah.
More of the same, and that's either good or bad depending on where you stand on that.
Yeah. Hannah, how do you feel about more of the same in Andor season 2?
I'm ready for difference. No, well, I think it's, yeah. They're not going to just change it up completely, but also I think it will have to feel somewhat a little different because of the time jumps they're going to be doing. Where it's like the first 2 episodes at this period and the next 2 are this, or every episode is something. Tony Guru made some comment about this.
Every 3 episodes, between every 3 episodes, there's a year gap.
There we go.
It's
Yeah,
a year
that's it.
time jump.
That's a fascinating. That's going to be a fascinating way to lay out a season of a show. So, you know what? I'm actually, as much as Andor is my least favorite Star Wars live action show, I'm quite interested in season 2. I'm very interested to see what they can do.
Yeah, the whole thing about the year in between seasons, I don't think that's actually going to make a whole lot of difference. Because I love the show so much, I want the 5-season version of it where every season is a year, the way this first season was. But
that was a year. That season was a year.
Yeah, supposed to be. Roughly, approximately. A lot happened.
Oh, whatever. Okay, what?
He spent a lot of time.
We're not.
He spent a lot of time on that beach and a lot of time in that jail cell.
Yeah, damn. Okay, all right.
But the point is, if you just set a year pass between each of those arcs, I don't think that changes anything. I think that works. That doesn't change a whole lot. So if I look at season 2 and try and think about it that way, I can see how it will work, even though I wish we were getting at least a 3rd season, if not a 4th and 5th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But alas.
Alas, not meant to be. By the way, for everybody who's listening, I have a terrible cough right now, so I'm really struggling to keep this going.
Do you want to read the next point? What's the next point?
Someone cue up the next point. I think the next one is the Acolyte.
The Acolyte.
Okay, we'll talk about the Acolyte.
I'm really excited about the Acolyte, so stoked. Yeah, we got a lot of Acolyte love this celebration. Lots of cast coming out. They came out with the main cast of the show.
We got Jonas Swatamo as the Wookiee Jedi. I forget his name.
Fantastic. And very, very, I loved the interview that they had with Leslie Headland. Really, I posted about it a bunch when it first came out because I was really passionate about it and I really loved what she said there. And she spoke for someone who's leading a Star Wars show. She spoke very confidently, very just very confident, knows what's happening, knows what she's trying to achieve, and it just, I don't know, really piqued my interest. So yeah, there was a lot of happenings around the Acolyte, the celebration. And what am I missing something? Was there a trailer for some people?
There was.
Yes.
There was. So they showed the trailer during the showcase panel on Friday, on the opening day. The next day, there was the High Republic panel, which was billed as just being about the High Republic Publishing Initiative. And they brought out all the authors who worked on that show or worked on those books. And excuse me, they did a whole 45 minutes about the books and everything that's coming up. It was a great time. There was a lot of cool reveals about Phase 3. Really, really exciting. But just like the Andor panel, beforehand, they were making a lot of announcements about not filming the screen and not taking pictures of what was on the screen. And I was very confused by this because usually at publishing panels, they want you to take pictures of what's on the screen because it's book covers and sort of thing that they want people to see. And so I was wondering, are they just reading the old copy? Are they reading yesterday's copy and nobody told them that it doesn't matter today what's on the screen? And then we got about 45 minutes into the panel and Christina Ariel, who was hosting it, said, all right, we're going to say goodbye to the live stream now. And I go, okay, what's going on here? And she says, all right, we're going to bring out sort of the honorary member of the Luminous authors. And she brought out Leslie Headland. And Leslie Headland spoke about how the High Republic books influenced the show, about the relationship between the books and the show. And just like you, Hannah, I was really impressed by her. And I really found myself enjoying just listening to her and her take on Star Wars. And so I was really into that. I was really enjoying it. And then she goes, oh, and by the way, you know the character Vernestra Rowe from the books? She's in our show. Here's a picture of her. And she's played by Rebecca Henderson. And so they show a picture of Vernestra Rowe, who in the books is like a child prodigy. So in the Acolyte, which is like 100 years later, she's a sort of an older character, kind of a wizened Jedi master. And then they showed the Acolyte trailer for everybody at that panel to see. And it's pretty special. It's pretty great. Again, like with Andor, it's a lot of quick cuts. They don't dwell on anything for very long. But it gives you a sense of what the show is going to be like. And it's got a lot of intrigue, a lot of Jedi and Sith, a lot of dark and light, and a lot of characters that exist in the space in between. And I don't want to overhype anything, but I had high expectations for this show going into it, just having seen Leslie Headland's prior works. And this did nothing but raise those expectations, because it looks like the kind of show I personally have been waiting for a long time. I've been waiting for there to be new Jedi characters, and we haven't seen a lot of them other than Rey and Ezra. Like, name me another Jedi character that we've seen that's new. Everybody else has been returning. It's been Luke. It's been Obi-Wan. It's been Leia. It's been Ahsoka. It hasn't been a new character. And this show has new characters and new Jedi and new Sith and new characters that kind of, again, exist in the space in between. That that has me really, really excited to see that, and especially see it in live action.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I kind of agree with you that I've kind of been waiting for this as well. A force centric show. I think it's been a hard one to maybe tackle for Disney. How to present the Force and Force sensitive characters. But I have a lot of faith in this show that it'll explore what the Force means in such an interesting way. And I totally agree with you. I'm just so excited for Sith or evil Force users and Jedi characters as well. And I think the time period is such a great choice. Such a great choice. Like, we're close enough to what we are familiar with that we're like, okay, we can place this in our heads. This is this amount of time beforehand. This is what's happening. But it's also enough time where it's like it's a new slate. It's not like we're gonna be, hoping that Plo Koon's gonna show up next, like in the episode. Like it's gonna be a clean slate. Although, hang on, how long can Plo Koon live for?
You never know.
You never know.
It won't shock me when Yoda shows up in this thing for an episode.
Yoda or Sunube, Master Sunube. Oh, he could show.
We know he's around. We know he's around. He's a young Jedi.
Yariel Poof. Oh my god! If they brought in Master Poof, that'd be great. That'd be great. But
just gone to get the pizza. The chat is gleefully pointing out all of the Jedi characters that I said they haven't introduced any new ones. Kanan is the big one that I missed.
Kanan.
I'll give you Kanan, but Inquisitors aren't Jedi, not at the time that we're seeing them. They used to be
That's
Jedi.
True.
Grogu is
still
still
not a Jedi.
He's not a Jedi yet.
Not a Jedi yet.
Still growing. He will be one day. He one day will be, but not yet.
What? That'll be the Rey movie. That'll be the Rey movie that he's there.
Yeah, he'll be Jedi Master Grogu.
Din
Grogu.
Din Grogu.
Yeah. Master Din.
Yeah.
Cal Kestis doesn't count either because he's not in the shows. I'm talking about in the shows. I'm talking about in the shows and the movies.
I like how people. I like how you're like.
But they're not
having to like take. You're
not
like
in the movies.
No, that one doesn't count. No, that one doesn't count. No, that one doesn't count.
Not in the shows. Joel, Sin City Sith, Orange Juice Dude.
Let's just change the subject before they humiliate you any further. But like, I love that Leslie Headland, and correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm misquoting her, but like, she essentially confirmed that this show is about the Sith. It's about the bad guys. It's not going to be this like, oh, it's about, Jedi and the downfall of the Republic. It's like, no, this is the machinations of the Sith. This is whoever the Acolyte is, whatever the Sith are doing.
I think it's going to be both, right? Like the Jedi are all through, that are like all through um the trailer. Like Dean Charles Chapman's playing a Jedi, the dude from Squid Game's playing a Jedi. Like there's the Jedi are very, very much a part of the story but I think I think we'll see both sides of it.
Right. I agree. I think this is going to be a show that covers a lot of ground and shows us what's going on, because I think if you're just focused on the Sith, then how interesting is that? Obviously very interesting, but also you need a full scope of what is going on in the galaxy. How far ahead are we from Phantom Menace? What's going on in the galaxy? All that stuff. That's interesting. Getting the Sith's perspective, getting that perspective, I think is going to be great. And having characters from the book showing up. Vernistra Rowe is a character that I think is such an interesting one. And getting her, the fact that they're taking a character that is introduced, I'm not fully caught up on the New Republic, on the High Republic. All these republics, High Republic, New Republic, Old Republic, they all get confused. They all run the same to me. But like the fact that the book that I did read was like she's this like 16-year-old kid that is becoming a Jedi Master, and that's weighing on her, and she's figuring this all out, and then catching up with her, perhaps 100 years in the future. What's happened? How is this doing? And just the connectivity of Ben's Connection Corner. Not just that, okay? It is truly incredible that we're having, in very short amount of time, we're having authors just having their way, creating these fantastic new characters, and then having people like Leslie Headland come in and make them a reality on screen. It is crazy how good this is.
Yeah, it's exciting. And I liked, this is the other thing I really liked about Leslie Headland, is she's not doing the same shtick as Filoni. I love Filoni, but his shtick is getting a little bit tired. The whole, I don't know what we can show you. I don't know what we can say. I don't know what we can do. It's nothing. I don't really want to be here. Even though we know
Filoni on the show there for a minute. Wow.
Even though we know he really wants to be there. Leslie Headland, like, she came out and she's like, let me tell you some stuff. I'm not going to tell you everything, but I'm going to tell you some stuff. Here's what I want you to know about this show. I'm going to tell you with great sort of gusto and enthusiasm. Like, she was at the High Republic panel. She spoke like for 10 minutes straight just about the connections between the books and the shows. It was really fun to hear, and it was really refreshing to hear. And like, she didn't go like, oh, should we make a reveal? I don't know. Did I bring anything cool today? She's like, no, Vernistra Rowe's in the show, and here's a picture of her. Look at it and enjoy it.
It's almost as if when you give the audience something, you tell them, hey, look, here's what the show is. Let's talk about it. It gives like news sites stuff that they can actually report on instead of just clickbait garbage that they usually churn out. Or it actually gives the fans something to talk about and has us, like, you watch Leslie Headland talk about this stuff. She's so enthusiastic. She's so intelligent. And it gives the fans a window into her world and go like, hey, this person knows what she's doing. She's not just up here teasing us. She's a Star Wars fan. She's just like us. And she's just doing a Star Wars show, and this is amazing. And on top of that, she's a massive prequel fan. She's a massive fan of this era. She's someone that's not coming in going like, yeah, Luke Skywalker was my favorite character growing up. Not that there's anything wrong with that. We've heard that like 10,000 times at this point. I love hearing someone go like, yes, I love the prequels. That's what I grew up with. And that's when I'm making the story. I'm talking about the machinations of what George Lucas put in place, what he established for this era, and how do you take off from that?
Just in the same train of talking about what she said and spoke about, it really stuck out to me how she spoke about the project too. And just she wasn't going, oh, it's gonna be great, you'll see Jedi and you all like Jedi, yeah. It wasn't fluffy. It wasn't just, they said, oh, mention Jedi and just say it's going to be great and get off the stage. It was like she kind of really expanded like what she thought before making the show. What she thought was an interesting piece of storytelling to bring to Star Wars, and what she loved about Star Wars, what she thought could make something good. And I don't know all the like who makes what show. I don't really know the extent of the behind the scenes of projects, to be honest. Like, that's not my forte of understanding all that. But I found it really interesting that this was her pitch, and she pitched this show. Which that happened for the Mandalorian.
Yeah,
what else did that happen with?
That's the way it usually works. Like, does
it?
Yeah. So like the Mandalorian was Jon Favreau's pitch, and at the same time, Filoni was pitching something similar, and so Kathleen Kennedy put them together. Skeleton Crew was Chris Ford and John Watts' pitch.
Right.
Andor is kind of the exception, because that seems to have been somebody else's idea, and then there were some creative differences, and Tony Gilroy stepped in to sort of take over and steer that ship. But that's generally how it works, is that somebody pitches Lucasfilm their idea, and then Lucasfilm goes, either says yes or no.
Yeah. Well, I think it was quite a confident, like, you got to be confident to be like, it's not just going, like, this character's popular, I want to make a story about them. It's a very specific period of time, and it's a very specific story she wants to explore, and you need to know Star Wars. You need to know Star Wars to understand why she would choose that time. So, I'm just so excited. I'm just so warmed by her being involved. It's good. I'm very excited.
Yeah, I think of all of the new showrunners, I think she's the one I'm most excited about. No disrespect to anybody else, but she seems to have the most interesting take and the best grasp on the Star Wars galaxy and the Star Wars story as a whole.
And also, real quick, Joel brought it up. Apparently, she described as Frozen and Kill Bill.
Yes,
which is like the best description of a show ever. Come on, that's incredible.
What I don't know what that means, but I
don't either.
Fascinated by it.
Nobody knows what that means.
I like, when the show comes out, we better go, oh yeah, now I see it. Now I get it.
Oh, right. Oh,
because like in the trailer, I see the Kill Bill of it. But I don't see the Frozen of it yet. So that part's still to be
maybe
it's
a musical. Maybe it's a secret musical. We just didn't know it.
Well, hang on. Just from my memory, I haven't watched Frozen probably over a decade. It's the whole, you have power and you don't. What is it? She has the ice power and she doesn't know how to wield it, or she's afraid of it.
She's trying to let it go. Probably. I don't know. I never seen it.
She's let it go. She makes everything frozen, but she's embarrassed about it.
It's like hiding your powers.
And then
wanting
to
that
with the Force. So
it could work. Like I think it's one of those things. It sounds, when you hear it, it sounds like it makes no sense. But as you say, when you stop and think about it, there's something there.
I can kind of get it.
There's something going on. Something there to it. So that's the Acolyte. We'll move on. We had Star Wars Visions Volume 2 had a big presence at the convention. Obviously, the trailer is out. Looks very exciting. They had a terrific panel on the last day where they brought out all the filmmakers from all the different studios to talk about their shorts. I think they all sound terrific. There's a couple of standout ones that I'm really looking forward to. But we did actually get to see one of the trailers, or one of the shorts. We saw the one called I Am Your Mother, which was produced by the studio Aardman, which is the same studio that makes Wallace and Gromit. And it definitely, Wallace and Gromit meets Star Wars definitely feels like a safe way to describe that short. And really, really good. Really excited to see what else is coming from this.
Yeah.
Hannah, what do you think?
Oh, OJD knows me so well. It's just like so last of my interest. I really don't understand why it's so big to make these.
Really?
But well done on them. I believe in creativity. I believe very creative and fantastically skilled people made them. Oh, is my camera lagging?
Yeah,
Oh, there we
you're
go.
good.
Oh,
You're good.
okay. I couldn't understand. I could barely get through season 1 of Visions, and they're like 10 minutes long, and I could barely get through it.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh well, I hope everyone enjoys season 2. Oh, anyway.
Ben, go ahead.
No,
You're about to
I
say
was
something.
I was literally just about to say that I haven't seen the trailers, so I really don't have a comment on this.
Well,
it's not. Look, Visions is not my ultimate favorite thing. Like, I enjoyed season 1, some of season 1. It's not my favorite thing, which is part of the reason why I didn't really go out of the way to see the trailer. Now I'm just like, I'm just gonna be here next week, so why bother? Like, yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, it's not definitely not for everyone. I hope maybe with this new season, it'll be different styles, and instead of just being Japanese artists, it'll be people from all over the world, and a diversity in styles and diversity in stories may result in a diversity in opinions, and it might actually bring more people in, or maybe you just hate it more. I don't know.
Wow. Yeah. Look, I'm more excited for season 2 or volume 2 than I was for volume 1. I'll give you that. But volume 1 really spoke to me in a way that I wasn't expecting. It came out at a time of sort of transition for Star Wars. We had just wrapped up on the Clone Wars. The sequel trilogy was done. I don't know if I don't think we had seen season 2. No, we'd seen season 2 of Mandalorian, but we hadn't seen Book of Boba Fett yet. It came at this moment in time when I was a little bit worried about Star Wars getting stale, because everybody here knows my opinions on The Rise of Skywalker, and Mandalorian season 1 and season 2 have some really great strengths, and I think season 2 is the strongest season, but there are points in them where I'm sort of going like, oh, okay, it's a cameo fest, it's a familiarity fest, everything is a reference to something else. And along came Visions, and it threw all that stuff out the window. It threw all the references out the window and said, we're just going to tell new stories in the Star Wars galaxy that aren't connected to anything else. And as a result, they've all felt really, really fresh, really, really vibrant, and they've really interested me in a way that I wasn't expecting them to do, because I don't really care about anime or animation as a medium. That's not really my thing. But these worked for me. They really did. And so season 2, because it's even more varied, like you said, Ben, in its styles, that has me even more excited, because it's like, okay, I'm hoping that we get that same freshness that comes from freeing Star Wars of the canon and the pre-existing stories and pre-existing notions of what things have to be or things should be. I think that to me is really what excites me about this project.
That's so fascinating, because that's my. Sorry, you go.
I was just gonna finish off and say, this short that we get feels that I've seen, the I Am Your Mother one. It feels like that, because it has the spirit and the heart of Star Wars, and this one does actually have some specific references to other stories, but it doesn't feel like it has to do things in the same way that everything else does them. And so it winds up, it's basically a story of a speeder chase, but it's not like any we've ever seen before. So that's my point. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Hannah.
No, you're right. Yeah, like to your point of like, because I've heard that kind of perspective before, people being like, I really enjoy how this is non-canon. It opens things up. It's fresh. It's new. It's different. Is it like, personally, and this podcast is all about personal opinions.
Exactly.
That is literally the why I'm so turned off it. That is the one reason why I I only watched it because everyone else was watching it. Wow, like a sheep. But that's still like why I couldn't like it. I'm like, these mean nothing. These mean nothing. So it's so fascinating to me. And I think that just improves the point of like it's almost going to be impossible to like really nail the whole we're going to make a piece of Star Wars content that everyone's going to enjoy and no one will speak badly about, because it's like there's just so many different perspectives coming from. Like one thing is so opposite. Like you're like, oh, it's so fresh. I'm like, that's the one reason where I like it's almost permanently I'm never going to enjoy because it's not canon. Oh, it's just blowing my mind right now.
Yeah, well, and I mean, you hit the nail on the head there, which is it's impossible to make something that will please everybody. Like everybody, because everybody brings something different in what Star Wars means to them. And that's again why I like the shorts, is because you're seeing all these different studios, all these different directors getting their 10 minutes to say this is what Star Wars is to me, and you get a real variety of it. And look, I will be honest, I didn't love every single Visions short from season 1.
Nor did I.
I think I liked 7 out of 10 of them, or 7 out of 9, or however many there were. Whichever one that was the last one, I couldn't. That one was a struggle to get through. It didn't work for me. But
me neither.
But there are other ones like Tatooine Rhapsody or the Ninth Jedi. Those ones, like I'm like, give me an entire series of that. Like that's Star Wars when you boil it down to me. For me, that's what I like to see. So I'm excited for season 2. I'm really looking forward to it. It'll be fun to see what people how the discussion goes when we talk about some of these.
At the very least, the discourse is way more tolerable with Visions. Just the fact that people can't like whine about they're ruining the canon. They don't understand the mythology. Like, it's not canon. It's not canon. Like it's just a one-off story.
It's true. It's like
it has no bearing on the story. You can't whine about this ruin your childhood. Just enjoy it or not, or just don't watch it. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Let's see. We'll have to kind of start going through some of these a little bit quicker, but maybe not this one. Bad Batch season 3, the final season. This was the big panel for Sunday. Most of it was live stream, but again, at the end of it, they said, "All right, bye live stream," and showed a little trailer for season 3.
I gotta say, while watching the live stream, that was always so like abrupt. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, we loved writing this finale episode. It was really fun to bring this project together. All right, turn off the screens. We'll see you later." Okay, it's like, whoa, all right, we're going. They get a trailer now. Okay.
Well, and then you're in the room and there's like a moment of pause where nobody says anything. And then the host goes, "Okay, are they gone? Are they gone? All right, let's roll the trailer."
Where have I gone? Hang on, where have I gone?
I was going to ask, but
Hannah's video has been replaced with 3 dots.
It's a caterpillar.
All right.
Hannah has become a caterpillar. This is weird,
we can still hear
my
Hannah,
voice.
so we can.
There we go. Okay,
keep it going.
Oh, wow.
I was just showing you what happened to the live stream.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh,
exactly. But since they did live stream this, I know Hannah, you watched the Bad Batch panel. What they showed of it.
Yeah,
me too.
And you watched it too. What did you guys think?
It like changed my opinion of season 2. I'm sitting there going, "Oh damn it, I really like this season." Oh, but no, it's great to hear creatives behind Star Wars speak. It's one of the most best things I find about Celebration. Hearing Brad Rao and Jennifer Corbett. Oh my God, I love them. Jeez, they're awesome. I love that pairing. They are the two halves of Dave Filoni's brain. So it's such a perfect combination. I want them to do more in Star Wars. They are really passionate and thrilled to be working on the project. And you can really tell that they care about this show so much. Yeah,
Ben?
That's what I got. Anyway.
Ben,
Yeah, I mean, I mean, because I woke up in bed looking at my
Good start.
phone, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch the tweets because they're not gonna live stream this. But then they're like, oh, there is a live stream. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch this, and like it was surprisingly just
so
fun to watch. And you know, it's always great to like, yeah, everyone wants to know about season 3, but learning just about that season and getting them to talk about that in depth, I think was really great. Just talk about everything from the season overall to Tech's death to everything like that. Great stuff, like really great. Even though we didn't get to see the trailer, it's nice to get that, and sad to hear that season 3 will be the last one. But also, I'm really okay with that. I think it's had a good run, and I think I'm going to look more forward to this next season, knowing that they're going to have a limited amount of time to wrap everything up, and I think they're going to hit the ground running.
Yeah, 3 seasons feels like the right number of seasons for a Star Wars show, but especially for this one, I think. So I'm like you, Ben. I'm sad to see it go, but I'm okay with the way it's going out, and that it seems to be going out on its own terms. That it goes out knowing that this is the final season, and so we'll wrap up the story it's been telling as such. And yeah, it's a shame you guys didn't get to see the trailer because the trailer's really, really good. It's really...
I mean, I saw it, kinda.
Yeah. But it's really exciting. It starts with the Emperor arriving on Tantus. So we begin from a very enticing, intriguing place. And from there, it again, like a lot of the trailers this weekend or at Celebration, it transitions into a lot of quick cuts and a lot of explosions, a lot of characters, making grand declarative statements. But we do see a lot of Crosshair and Omega together, in their imprisonment on Tantus. And it's clear that, the connection that we saw a little bit of between Omega and Crosshair that existed in season 1, it's still very much there. And she's still trying to, speak to his better angels. And he's still resisting to a point, but you start to get the feeling that maybe she's worn him down a little bit. And I have a feeling by the end of the season, those two will be working together to escape Tantus as Hunter, Wrecker, and Echo move in to break them out. But yeah, there's a great moment where Omega says something to the effect of, I'm not giving up, Crosshair, and I won't let you give up either. And Crosshair yells at her. He goes, I'm not them. Like, I'm not the other members of the Bad Batch. I'm not the people that you can't. I don't feel the same way as they do. Even though I think we all know, having seen season 2 with Crosshair, it may take him a little while longer to get to that place. But that's a bit of a lie from him.
Yeah, he's already changed. He's already had some development. He's already had a change of heart, even though he doesn't want to recognize it.
Doesn't want to admit it. Yeah,
recognize it.
or hunterize it.
You tried.
That one works so worse.
There was an attempt made. It didn't pan out.
Echo-inize it.
Really?
just sit down before you hurt yourself. Come on now.
Yeah. So Bad Batch season 3 sometime next year. I liked the January release. I thought that was fun. To come out of Christmas and just hit the ground running in the new year with Star Wars.
They're gonna drop it during episode 4 of Andor. That's when they're gonna drop it, because that's the Lucas.
Yeah, that's
the whole thing.
That's how it runs.
That's how it goes. Yeah. Also announced at Celebration was Tales of the Jedi season 2.
No brainer.
Yeah.
No brainer. Didn't that rival views on Mando season 2 or something wild? The views of that show was insane.
Yeah. Very, very, very popular. a big hit, makes perfect sense. What isn't known is, are we just going to do Ahsoka and Dooku again, or are we going to get some other
hope
Jedi
not.
in there?
I love
No, I
Ahsoka
doubt
and
it.
Dooku, but do something different.
I kind of hope we do. I really liked the Dooku storyline. I'd like to see that explored more.
What's wrong with this
And
guy?
then Ahsoka is Ahsoka, and so she's going to be the star of the show no matter what. So
Yeah, that's kind of true.
I'm kind of hoping for at least more Dooku, and I think with that comes more Ahsoka.
No, let's get some Yarrell Poof in there. Let's get it. That's where he'll come up.
Also acceptable.
Next year is the year of Yarrell Poof. He will be in The Acolyte. He will be in Tales of the Jedi. He's just taken over at this point.
Just going to take over. I like it. Yeah, the year 2024, the year of Yarrell Poof.
What's that? I'm getting my own show. This is
what am I calling him? I might say his name wrong. Yarrell. I say Yarrell.
Yo, real Poof, y'all.
Shut up.
What?
I've always thought it was Yariel, but it could
Maybe
be
I'm just-
Yariel. I don't know.
Yariel.
Has anybody ever actually said it?
Yarrell.
I'll have to go. Like, there's an audio book with him. I'll have to go back and review the footage.
Rael. Whose character is that? Luthen Rael. How is he spelled that?
Next year we will see Jedi Master Poof. Risk it all for something real.
Yes.
Well, I mean, he could show. I think this is going to be the continuing adventures of Yarrell Proof, whatever his name is. Because do we know he survives? Do we know? Like, could he be in? Could he show up in Andor?
I've confused this guy. I've just looked him up. I've not. This is not who I thought this
Who did
was.
you think he was?
I thought I'm getting confused with him and Oppo Rancis.
Oh,
I'm getting sorry, but
also an iconic character.
That's the other story. That's the other arc.
There you go. Yeah, it's Yarrell Poof and Oppo Rancis. That's the season of Tales of the Jedi. Love it. Here for it.
I love it.
Sign me up for 18 episodes.
Yes.
All right, Tales of the Jedi season 2 is coming next year. We don't know anything about it. We're just guessing, and I think we've nailed it. We also revealed was the Jedi Survivor trailer, but it's been so long since Celebration that Jedi Survivor is out now, so people are playing it and experiencing it.
Is it out?
I'm trying to give you guys the wrap up so I can start playing it.
Exactly. This is why we're going through this part quickly. But I will say there's a terrific video featuring Cameron Monaghan and Mark Hamill that came out today. That if you haven't seen, go watch it. It's phenomenal. Excellent advertising.
I woke up in the middle of the night last night, and often these things drop in the middle of the night. And I went to get a drink of water, and you're in that delirious state. It was like 2:30 in the morning, and I opened Twitter barely. The screen was so bright. I opened Twitter, and Mark Hamill was like speaking. Luke Skywalker was speaking to Cal Kestis, and I was like, what is happening? I was like, what is this? What am I watching right now? What's happened?
This is a dream.
Yeah, I was like, did I dream that? When I woke up again in the morning, I was like, did I dream that?
That's how it was for like the entirety of Celebration. It's just like stuff happened during the night, and then you open Twitter, stuff happened, and then you went back to sleep. You're like, wait, did I dream that? Really? That was a thing? Did Daisy really was on stage? Whoa, okay.
Because it seems such like a clickbaity thing that someone would Photoshop, that'd be like, oh, she was there. Oh no, but yeah, a lot of those moments.
That was the rumor, that was the thing going in. They're like, oh yeah, Daisy's back. They're gonna do a Rey movie, and like, no, y'all are pulling my leg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
apparently Jedi Survivor is out now. I did not know that.
Yes, do
you have it downloaded?
Yeah, well, it's a very long story. My Wi-Fi's so bad that I'm downloading it at my brother's house, who has better Wi-Fi, and then he's bringing it to me. Once it's downloaded.
Wow.
I've outthought the system. Instead of improving Wi-Fi,
big brain energy there.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it is out. Well, but the timing of it has been very strange because you've been able to preload like a third of the game for the past like maybe 12 hours, and then it drops technically at midnight Eastern time for you guys where it is now. So it's the 27th of April for you guys, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So it drops whatever the equivalent for everywhere else of midnight Eastern time. But it's the 28th for me already. So 4 hours ago at 9 a.m. when my game shop opened, I didn't walk, I drove there and picked it up at 9 a.m. in the morning. So yeah, it's very odd. Like, but I still have, I've had to download it, but I'm about to play it. So it's, time's been odd, but it's out.
The advantages of living in the future.
I know, right?
Down under.
Right. Get everything first. Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. So Jedi Survivor, I hope everybody has a lot of fun playing that this week. Already touched on the High Republic stuff a little bit from Celebration. They announced a ton of books. Phase 3, they basically laid all of it out. It's going to run until 2025. The books are going to be a little bit more spaced out from here until the end, which is fine by me. I found that we were all coming out too close together anyways. So exciting stuff there. If you're into the books, make sure you're, listening to Ion Canon. I think they have a more thorough breakdown of it. And we talked about a little bit about it on the daily pods from Celebration. So if you haven't heard those, go back and check that out. And the final announcement of Celebration was Celebration 2025 will be in Japan, which I don't think anybody saw coming.
No.
Nope.
I will except I will give a tiny bit of credit to Rob Gower, who was one of our co-hosts for the weekend there. He did say the year gap made him think it might be somewhere farther away to give people time to save up. But I had practically booked my ticket to Anaheim, and I'm glad I didn't, because it's very far away from Anaheim. It's across an ocean. Celebration.
That's a long commute in the morning.
Fun fact: it is the same time zone as me. How weird is that? Japan is in the same time zone.
Yeah,
maybe off by an hour, maybe.
They're like right above you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, I am so much more optimistic if I can go to Japan, because I'm like, if you guys saw me, I was corked in Anaheim because the jet lag was wild. But I'm like, oh my god, this one's the same. Yay. Yeah. So that's fun. That's fun.
So I will ask you the same question I asked on the last day of Celebration Anaheim, and one of you was honest and the other wasn't on that day. You're going, right? Going.
Wow.
Ben?
3 weeks ago, I aggressively said no.
Okay.
But
okay.
I've changed my mind.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay.
You
told the truth last time. You said you weren't coming to London. Now you're honest.
I will be honest. I will be honest now. Unlike last time. I'm going.
Hey. I mean, you said that last time, so I'll believe it. I will believe it. I
had 11 months to prepare. Okay, I was in California at that point, and you asked me, "Are you going to London in 11 months?" I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing in 11 months. Like, come on, like now I can actually properly prepare for this. Also,
you know where you're going to be in 24 months.
List.
You know where you're going to be in 24 months. That's easier to predict something that's further away.
I mean, yes, actually.
Amazing. Well, we will see you all in Japan. Now, Ben, you told me something before the show that you did a little research the other night, in the middle of the night.
Oh, yeah.
About, if we were to do a live event at Celebration Japan.
We have to, don't we?
I think we do.
Yeah.
Where would we host it? Because previously we hosted it at IHOP, but despite being the International House of Pancakes, they are not in many countries.
Right. So I discovered this during our recent game night, and you will get access to just fun stuff like this of me just randomly researching stuff when I'm not playing Fall Guys in between rounds of Fall Guys. So I looked up, I'm like, okay, is there IHOP in Japan? And I looked it up, and yes, there was IHOP in Japan in the early 2000s. All the IHOPs have now since closed.
Boo.
So actually I gotta So actually, so there is, I've looked it up. There is actually an alternative to this. Alternative to IHOP. And Dominic, you want to say it?
No, I can't remember what it is, but it's my favorite.
Yeah, I'm having
name
trouble
ever.
remembering it too. I don't want to
You had it
missay
earlier. You had
I
it
know. I had to
earlier.
look it up. Now I've lost it again. Hang on a second. I will give me it. I want to get this right.
This is important.
Now I got it.
We believe in.
This is very important. So, because
we don't need anybody
to an important announcement about 2 years from now, we will be making our Japanese debut in Tokyo.
Brilliant.
At the local Slappy Cakes.
Beautiful.
That's where we're having our live podcast. Slappy Cakes in Tokyo.
I love that name.
Go
so
buy
much.
tickets. Tickets
Slappy
available
Cakes.
now. Not really.
Slappy Cakes. You got to slap the pancakes before you eat them.
Slap the cakes, or you take a pancake and you slap somebody else with it.
Oh, that's even better.
We're gonna have a food fight. It's gonna be great. Gonna be great. All right. Before we go, let's hit these super chats.
Oh, yeah.
Starting with we'll start with this one from Joel. Joel says, what if Shin, the white-haired dark side woman in the Ahsoka trailer, is the Mara Jade to Ahsoka's Luke in this Heir to the Empire adaptation? Balin is looking like Jorah Sabaoth. What do we think? Shin is the Mara Jade of this story.
I don't personally get Mara Jade vibes from her. Especially since, like, you know, you see her like attacking a bridge. Like Mara Jade's whole thing is like she's trying to get away from that life. She's trying to lay low. At least where we get her in Heir to the Empire. But I mean, she could fill a similar role in regards to maybe she's not as fully committed to the dark side or whatever she's doing, or Thrawn or whatever else. It would be interesting to see how that character develops. But yeah, I think we could see some similar like archetypes filled in from Heir to the Empire. And that could be one.
Okay. All right. Another one from Joel here says, I don't think Project Necromancer is about making Snoke, since I think Snoke could already be out there. We know Palpatine is on Exegol now, too. Yeah, to me, Project Necromancer is about Palpatine.
Palpies. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I think that's...
Or just in general, the resurgence, like the First Order. And like like they're trying to undead the Empire, and you know, who knows if they know. I feel like not a lot of people know what's going on with Palpatine. I don't feel like the people in that room in Mandalorian know that Palpatine is still alive. That's just my opinion. I don't think that's a well-known thing. I
think Hux might. Maybe Paleon. Like, those two seem like they know what's going on. Everybody else is a little bit in the dark.
Right.
Orange Juice Dude says, side note, you guys should interview the peeps who made the Clone Wars podcast. They review Clone Wars episodes in depth, and they are so much fun to listen to because they're downright hilarious.
Isn't that us?
Yeah, I was going to say, Clone Wars Strikes Back is the show you're thinking of, hosted by me and Kieran.
I just read it, and it's Clown Wars.
Oh, it's Clown Wars. Oh, I didn't even read that.
Podcast.
Clown Wars. That's actually... That's a good name for a show.
Sounds great. I want to look them up now.
Yeah, let's look them up.
Yeah,
sounds like a good show. Sounds like a good show. What else we got? Joel says, excited for some non-Favreau written Star Wars.
I agree with this. Strongly.
Andor was
Joel
so
has
good.
it out for Favreau. Joel has it out for Favreau.
I loved Andor, and I want that same quality of writing being brought to the Mando verse. Tony Gilroy and his ilk can take over Star Wars.
Watch it. Watch it.
Also from Joel, my theory is that dark side characters Balin and Shin are part of Thrawn's plan to restore the Empire, but with a Jedi Order loyal to him.
Ooh, that's a cool idea. I like that.
I like that.
I bloody like that. That's bloody nice.
It's a bloody big deal. I like it.
Bloody well, right?
Bloody right. Sin City Sith drops a super chat for the purple background lights.
Yes. I need to send you guys purple lights. I feel like we should all have colored lights.
I would very much like that, but I also have just got a green screen, so it's kind of
Wow, did you physically touch that? That was
Yeah.
that looked really cool for some reason.
Look at
That's so
that.
satisfying. That looks real.
Interesting.
It's
Like
weird.
you just got a mural behind you. Anyway.
Yeah, I just got this mural. Let's see what else. Joel says Ahsoka's going to prove a theory of mine that the John Dave duo, Filoni is the better scriptwriter of the two. Could be proven wrong, but I have a feeling. I mean, we've seen what Filoni can do writing in animation. Like Siege of Mandalore is, some of the best written Star Wars. Full stop. So, yeah, I think that's likely. Likely.
Filoni feels like he has like the sensibility of George, being that he was so closely, but he also he can write. He can actually write really good.
Yeah. Joel also says, while theory the Filoni film will be called Rangers of the New Republic to get that Avengers vibe, which, let's face it, is what they want. I kind of like this just because Rangers was announced with all this fanfare and then went away for reasons that we all know. But it's that would be kind of funny to call the movie
or
Rangers of the New Republic, but it's going to be Heir to the Empire.
No, here's my take. Here's my prediction, and this is the title that's from the EU, from a video game, from a multimedia thing, and it was also almost the title of the first Star Wars movie, The Force Awakens, Shadow of the Empire. I think that might actually be the title.
But I think if you're gonna go with that title, you might as well just go with Heir to the Empire. They're so close. They're so close.
Shadow of the Empire isn't as well known. I think they can maybe get away with it better.
Shadow. I think those two things are equally well known.
Look, if I had my choice, I would neither one of them would be you. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to guess what Filoni might do.
Yeah,
I would call it the Big Battle Show because I think that's all that's going to happen.
I would call it Heir to the Empire, a Star Wars The Mandalorian story. I think that's what they should call it.
Plus Ahsoka and bits of Book of Boba Fett that you might remember from.
And Skeleton Crew, sort of.
And Skeleton Crew sometimes.
Star Wars, the one where they team up and they beat up the blue guy.
You know what? Let's just
team up.
Let's just call it Infinity War and be done with it. We've got another one from Joel says, despite production issues, I have high hopes for Skeleton Crew. The talent behind it sounds amazing and fresh. I love John Watts' Spider-Man films. Yeah, those Spider-Man films are pretty great. They're pretty great. And I had high hopes. I still do have high hopes for the show. Just all that production stuff has colored it for me. So I'm a little bit there. I was in the Celebration store and there were a lot of Skeleton Crew t-shirts available to buy, and just didn't feel like getting one. Didn't feel like getting one because of everything that has gone down with that show.
I actually have zero clue what you're referencing here, so give me the goss after the show.
Yeah, it's just the work environment was especially bad, and there were a lot of issues on set with people not being treated right, by the top production brass, potentially including John Watts and Chris Ford. So we'll see. We'll see what I'm sure the story of that will all come out in more detail sometime, because right now it's a little bit vague and nebulous and has been told a lot through innuendo and implication. But I have a feeling that story will come out probably closer to the show coming out, and we'll get a more of a sense of what exactly was going on there.
Fun.
And Orange Juice Dude drops another one, says, can't wait for the Bo-Katan show, Slappy Cakes. Don't know why that's what it's called. And then also wants to make sure we know that it's Clown Wars on Spotify.
Clowns now.
But now it's Clown Wars on. There's spaced out all the letters, so there's no way to tell that there's a different world. Clown Wars. Clown Wars.
Oh, I love
Spotify. Check it out. Love it. Thank you everybody for the super chats. And like I said off the top, there's going to be more places soon to get your thoughts included on the show.
Did you want me to close out the show?
If you want to, if you're feeling up for it, you nailed the opener.
start that music.
Okay.
I mean, I'm lazy and he's
Count
sick,
me
so
in.
let's just go.
All right, let's.
1,
wrap
2,
things up
3,
for
4.
this week.
Oh, well, we hope you enjoyed another thrilling episode of the Star Wars Underworld. I'm now realizing there's no notes for the outro, so let's just do this. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you do check out that Underworld Discord. Lots of fun is had over there, lots of discussions. Like mentioned before, we have bi-weekly game nights and movie nights. If you want to be a part of that, be a part of the community, make sure you're over there. And like we've hinted at, there are things cooking over there that is going to be directly linked to this live show, so you can be, I'm going to say involved, somewhat involved with the live show. So it's very exciting. Make sure you're hanging out over there as well. If you want to see more podcasts and projects here at the Star Wars Underworld, you can check out the Raeside, created by yours truly, over on YouTube at the Raeside. You can go check out the Ion Cannon podcast. Actually, it's here on the channel on every Monday. And also Tales Beyond the Galaxy and other projects as well. Check those out. What other things do we like to talk about? Tune in next week, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, new time. So it's 30 minutes before you usually expect us. So 30 minutes beforehand, on the hour. On the hour. Is Dom speaking? Can you hear Dom? I can't hear him.
I'm just waiting. I'm just making hand gestures.
Oh, okay.
But no, this is the new old time. Because for many years the show was at 9, and then for some reason we switched it to 9:30, and now we're switching it back to 9.
Oh, good. I like it. Like the Mon Mothma actors going back and forth. Love it. Love it. What else am I missing?
You're supposed to thank everybody for being on.
Oh, thank you guys. This is fun. This is great that you're here on your own show. Great stuff. Great work. Ben Hart. Ben Hart. Thank you.
Well, no, thank you for all this, for this amazing show, this amazing outro, and we had a lot to talk about, and there was other news too that's been piling over the last week or two that we didn't get to. We probably will never get to because there's too much. Okay, we're gonna have a whole batch of Star Wars visions to talk about next week, so it's gonna be a lot of fun. But I neglected to properly shout this out on the last episode, so I will do it now. Our good friend, Jeffrey White, had both myself and Hannah, both of us on the same podcast, and it was great over on Hype Function. So just type that up on your good old pod catcher of choice. I'm sure it'll be there, and check it out. It was a lot of fun. We talked about Celebration and pretty much everything, and it went on way too long, and there was lots of tangents, and it was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Yes, thank you again so much, Ben, and definitely check out that Hype Function. It's a good time. Very good time. Thank you so much, Dominic, for pushing through the pain of what seemingly was the Leafs losing.
Yes.
And being with us tonight. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Well, I'm glad I had this to do, because otherwise I'd just be sitting there being sad. So, but we got another chance on Saturday. Gonna run it back. Gonna win it this time for real. Damn it. Do what we haven't done since 2004. Since the year the Star Wars movies came out on DVD for the first time. We've had two whole other mediums.
Oh, I love it.
Maybe next time. Maybe next year. But yeah, I hope everybody enjoys the lead up to May the 4th. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time. And can't wait to do all this again in 7 days' time.
Awesome. Can't wait. That's about it. That's about it here on the show. Thank you so much again for joining me. You can check Ben out at Ben Hart with no E. You can check Dominic out at DominicJ23. You can check me out.
25.
Oh my god, why the hell did I start
Yeah, I was
23?
gonna say 23.
Who is
know what I was
Dominic
thinking of.
J23? I don't know.
That's my secret alter ego. My evil
25.
cousin.
Dominic J25, and you can check me out at the Raeside, Raeside, and you can even check out Chris at Seek3PO. That's what I was thinking of. Maybe there's with a 3K.
There it is.
Thanks so much for joining us. We'll catch you next time. May the force be with you. Maybe.
It's a wrap.